This is your one and only spoiler warning because we are going heavy into the details about your epic adventure to prevent Ragnarok. So players, beware. How's it going, y'all? My name is Kendrick or Kendo, whichever you prefer, and this is Scouting Party, the series brought to you by Kobold Press, where we give you the inside scoop about our latest Kickstarters. And as sad as it is to say it, this is our final video talking about the Northlands, a setting and adventure path that takes you through a world inspired by Norse history and mythology. These last few weeks have been very focused on the Northlands World Book, giving you all of the new character options, the setting, the lore, the history, the prophecy generator, the raiding system, the new equipment and vehicles, and all of that good stuff. This week we are finally talking about the other book in this Kickstarter, Northlands Sagas, an adventure path that is going to take your characters through the Northlands, facing off against monsters of myth, working alongside gods and giants, and even the Fates themselves, or the Norns as they're called. So sorry players, you gotta get out of here, because this one's for the Game Masters. I had the pleasure of talking with lead designer Brian Suskind and designers Nicholas Height and Mike Wellham, just two of the many designers who made adventures for this book, to talk about what the Fates have in store for you within the Northlands. Okay, so we have talked about all of the stuff coming in the World Book, all of the different options, all of the different cool lore stuff, all of the locations, all of that stuff, all of the things that makes the Northlands. But now it's time to talk about Northlands Sagas, the book that is going to take people through the Northlands as either a campaign or as different one-shots, right? Because you could just take these adventures, I imagine, and throw them into your game without having to do the broader story, right?
Yeah, you definitely could. I mean, we've had adventure books before where, there's sort of a loose narrative. This is really Kobold Press's first adventure path. These adventures are intrinsically tied together, but they do stand alone. But they work much better as part of a collective narrative. Like there's an early adventure where you have to rescue somebody who's been captured by some trolls in this keep, and you have to kind of journey across this kind of like tundra, rescue them, and then flee from these ogres, like ogre reinforcements, down this ice river, and there's a whole thrilling chase, like you're hopping from ice flows, and yeah, you could run that as a one shot, no problem. But the context of it in sagas is so much deeper. So I really drew on my film. I went to film school. I was a screenwriter. And so I really drew on my screenwriting training to develop this. I built a 3-act structure, figured it out narratively, how it was going to feel. This is really the story of Loki hiring the PCs to help him stop Ragnarok from happening. Because he's realized that this whole cult of Ragnarok thing, while funny, has gotten a little away from him. And the cult, in doing what they're doing, actually could pull off Ragnarok. They could actually trigger it for real. And he's like, crap, I didn't want them to actually do this. I wanted them to like just create some chaos, but they're really going to do it. And so now he has to go and stop it. And so he needs some plucky mortals to come help him.
That's a great start to this adventure.
And it opens with you meeting Loki. Like he comes to the PCs and he's like, behold, I come with glad tidings. And you're like, are you? Okay.
Fate has chosen you.
You're right. Yeah, you're destined to become heroes and I'm here to help you. That's sort of the vibe. And it's like, oh, okay, we have to save the world now. One of the great things about sagas is early on, we had a question about what we were going to do about runes, because we've had a lot of runic systems in Kobold Press. We had Deep Magic, hint, hint, we're going to have some in one of the new player guides. We have a lot of runes. And I'm like, do we really need another rune system? Like they're all going to start conflicting with each other here to some point. It's like rune overload. Instead, I developed these things called rune stones. Loki gives them to you at the beginning of the game. And you can draw them randomly. Each player gets one. Or you can choose them. Each is tied to a rune, which is tied to a god, a specific god. And each stone is a magical item that gives you a benefit. It's not, you don't have to attune to it, so it doesn't take up an attunement. As the sagas continues, you can upgrade your stones. They can get more powerful by you doing things in the game. And eventually, at the end, the last adventure, if you are in proximity to the god whose symbol you carry, you get even better benefits. And let me tell you, you will be in proximity to the god whose stone you carry.
That's so cool. That's
Because
so
this
cool.
Sagas ends in Asgard. You are fighting in Asgard against Fenris
I
and the
mean,
giants.
Ragnarok is coming. So
Yeah,
like
like this is
that's
the
gotta
last
be
chance to
how
stop it.
it yeah, like right, like that's gotta be what's going on.
Right.
Ah, that's so cool. And I love that it gives like the players something immediately that like you are going to take this with you all the way to the end.
hmm There's a lot of elements that leapfrog from like one adventure to, and it comes back in four adventures later.
Mhm.
And for the people who are playing in one shots, they're not that they won't notice it. But the people who are playing the whole thing will go, "Oh my God, that's the thing from that other adventure."
Were there any specific like inspirations when you were, you're setting up the outline, you're like, okay, this is the adventure, this is where we're starting, this is where we're ending. What are we doing in the middle? What were some of the inspirations that you drew on as the lead of this project or like the directions you wanted it to go?
I figured that each act had sort of a theme, and like there
Hmm.
was about three or four adventures in each act. So like in the first act, like it's all about the PCs proving themselves, and
Yeah.
then in the second act, it's all about like them gathering the resources and allies and making allies that they're going to need to fight the cult of Ragnarok eventually.
Hmm.
And then the third act is them actually moving against the cult. They try to disrupt the alliance between the giants and the cult. They go and assault the cult's like fortress in distant Thursreich, getting all their ships there. The last act is really just one adventure, to be honest. But it's you're venturing off the world. You have to go to Asgard. You have to get there. And by the time you get there, the giants have broken in. There's no siege. They're in. And the
Hmm.
gods are scattered. Fenris is there, so the gods are mortal because Fenris is there and it's triggering Ragnarok. So now you have to rescue the gods.
Oh, that's so cool. And you're
And
probably more inclined to rescue the god whose runestone you hold.
and the way I've set it up is that some gods are like kind of in a protected, like they're in their own like redoubt in the middle of
Hmm.
Asgard. Is this like giant, like people are fighting in the streets, and it's like all the warriors of Valhalla are fighting the giants all over the place. The gods that are missing, turns out, are the ones whose stones you hold.
You
And
gotta
there's a whole
find
instructions
them.
for the GM, basically like, look, you already like you've chose these at the beginning, at the first adventure, or if you're playing this singly, we'll pull randomly. Those are the gods that are missing, and those are the ones you have to go rescue.
That's so good. How do the players, how do the characters, how do our heroes enter into this story?
So, like I said earlier, Loki comes to the players and is like, "Hey, it's time to step up and be heroes. I need you to go. There's a thief who has stolen these magical shears from this temple. Some people are after him. I need you to go get the shears or the thief or both." Seems pretty straightforward. He's hiding in this barrow, and what's interesting about it is I decided that I wanted to. And again, this sort of goes back to what I was saying earlier that they never talk about the way out. And
Mhm.
so down the wolf barrow, you go through this sort of circular barrow. There's puzzles which may or may not be foreshadowing the entire adventure arc in the themes of the puzzle that you'd get to. There's sort of poem puzzles. There's physical puzzles. There's not a lot of monsters to fight in that first part, but you get there and find out that this guy stole the shears to keep it away from the cult of Ragnarok. Turns out they're right behind you. So now you have the guy or the shears or both, and you have to get out. And so you have to go back
Ugh.
through, and each room that you solved changed the physical properties of that room. And so the physical properties of the room are different, and now the cult's in there as well. And those shears, you'll see them a couple of other times during the course of the whole saga arc.
So it's the second part of this adventure. You're working for Loki, and you are given a note. He's like, "Hey, I need this thing back from the Norns." The Norns are a very, very important figure, kind of like the Greek fates in
Mhm.
Norse culture. And basically, the rules are you don't screw with them. You ask real nice if you need anything, and you presume that they're always going to like throw you out on your ass, right? So Loki says, "Go get this from the fates. Here is like my token that I'm calling in a favor." So
Mhm.
you can presume that when you show up, they'll at least respond not hostile, but it's a little iffy. But the Norns are incredibly difficult to find. They live at the roots of Yggdrasil, the World Tree, and Yggdrasil spans like all of creation. So the adventure is basically to climb Yggdrasil and start just picking these portals willy-nilly and hoping that you eventually get to where you need to be. Because the tree either supports you in what you're doing or it doesn't, and like you just put yourselves at the whims of fate, which is very much the point of the adventure.
Yeah.
So the first half is climbing the tree and going through all of these portals and basically playing like interplanar hopscotch as you end up through like the realm of the giants or the hells or the like random little flying island off the coast of whatever. It's just these portals drop you at places and you have to hopefully you can get back quickly and continue on your path. Eventually the players reach the Norns and the Norns are like, cool, we will, we owe Loki a favor, so we're not going to set you on fire or, twist your fate into a knot so that your spleen explodes or whatever. Instead they say, we'll give you this thing, but also you are a trespasser. We owe Loki a favor, but we don't owe you Jack. So you need to do us a solid, or we're not going to let you out of like this little realm of fates where you are like at the well of Erd, where the water that feeds the Yggdrasil is.
Mhm.
So they say there's a hostile creature nearby. It is Nidhogg. It's actually pronounced Nithug, which drives me nuts. It always looks like it should be Nidhogg.
Whoa, that's the first time I'm hearing that pronunciation of it.
Me too. While I was writing that, I was like, huh, I hate it.
I prefer
But
Nidhogg.
yeah. So the Nidhogg is the dragon that is like chewing on the roots of Yggdrasil and trying to like bring down all of creation. And it can't leave. It's been trapped there, I think, by Odin. And but it has in our mythology, it has children. And they're not trapped there. So it's laid this huge clutch of eggs, and the Nidhogg spawn drakes are like just digging and burrowing all around the roots of Yggdrasil. And so they are smaller versions that pose slightly less epic, but similar threats. They've got the same
Yeah.
sort of like burrow through the ground and jump out of you from the walls like a xenomorph and the
So
acid like
cool.
poison the poison fangs is very central to the mythology of Nidhogg.
Yeah.
And so the fates say you need to go into this area where it's been roosting and you get this big kind of not quite like hex crawl sort of thing, but it's a big dungeon area where you have to track down and kill this drake in order to earn the Norn's approval and then get to go home with hopefully your prize in hand.
When I was talking with Brian originally about like because he was telling me that like he kind of put it in like a three act structure, and like this first act, these first couple of adventures is very much about like prove yourself. Prove
Yeah,
that you are going to be the people that actually help stop Ragnarok. And like
right.
first you have to prove yourself to Loki, and now you've got to prove yourself to the Norns. And it's like slowly like racking up these
Almost like hero points.
yeah, that's kind of like almost like like the deeds of Hercules, right? Of like
Yeah, that
just
makes a lot
like
of
doing
sense.
all of these like small things that like as first level or like low level adventurers you go around and you're like, oh my god, this is so hard,
Right.
and then you like do it and you're like, okay, we're just doing this to get to another thing and then to another thing. But like the moment you tell like a villager in the town like, yeah, we were helping Loki go get these things, and then we were
Right. Then
talking to
you're a
the
big deal.
Norns, right? And then all of a sudden you're a really big deal. And like the dealing with these like larger than life entities, right? The masters of fate, the god of mischief, and like the children of Nidhogg is like these are some really, really fascinating and really cool things and epic things that they're going to be doing,
Literal epics in a lot of instances.
literal epics, and it's going to be hard, but when you do it, that's a thing you get to talk about with your friends forever. Hey, remember when we helped the Norns slay one of the children of Nidhogg
I'm
to
really hoping that that fight is going to be very memorable. I set it up with all of these little ambushes and stuff. It should be very cool. And that ties in actually to the reward from the Norns isn't like a magic sword. It's knowledge. They tell you about who is working behind the scenes to make this all happen. They give you a little story about how Angerboda is Loki's ex-wife and how she's arranged all of their children to just go and murder him because he's such a terrible husband, more or less, right?
Yeah, she's not wrong, probably.
You're right. Yeah, he's not exactly a great dude. The fact that you're working for him is maybe not a point in your favor.
Yeah, yeah. You did a murder mystery.
Yeah, it was a murder mystery. I like to mix in the mundane with the fantastical. And in this case, I got to throw a little bit of horror in, and
Oh,
I like a dash of horror every
just a
now and
little
again.
dash.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's called Murder at the Moot, and for ninth level PCs, they are invited. As part of the adventure path, they've convinced the Cloud Giants that this threat of Ragnarok, the cult of Ragnarok, is real. So the Cloud Giants say, "All right, we need you to convince the other giants, and you've got all the background that we need, and we're going to have a moot to discuss." Well, we were going to have a moot already. You're going to be one of the featured presenters to try to convince all the giants to get on side.
Yeah. I guess for those who, because I'm familiar with what a moot is because
Yeah.
media, but what is a moot
Um,
for Nordic people?
okay. Um, a moot is a large scale meeting where all of the kind of powers get together. It's a neutral location, no fighting or anything
Mhm.
like, or no physical fighting, no murders.
No murders. Please,
Surprise!
no murders.
Yes.
Hey, gang,
Um,
the most powerful people of every clan is going to be here. Please, no murders.
right. Exactly.
Perfect. A perfect
But
place for a murder.
right, it is. It's a perfect place for a murder. And of course, so they hash out whatever differences they have, or work out disputes, and generally and come to a general consensus for things that affect all the giants, or maybe a subset of the giants. Maybe there's some unresolvable thing that needs the wisdom of this council that's meeting at the moot to decide. So it starts off well. The PCs on the way to the moot find the first clue that something is weird. They find a dead giant with holes in its body, and they see the creatures that made the holes in the body. They are Migo. I had originally they're the Lovecraftian kind of insectoid.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Oh.
Yeah. I
Okay.
originally had them as kind of the wasps that like to lay their eggs, and then the baby wasp will come out of the corpse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there wasn't room to stat that up. So we wouldn't so it got changed to Amigo. Uh, but they still implant eggs in their victims. So
Hmm.
and when the PC stumble upon this corpse, the Migo emerge and attack. So the PCs have an idea that, oh, hey, something weird's going on, and a
Right.
lot of times players will be like, okay, this seems like a random encounter, but the wheels will start turning, of course. But they can learn some stuff as they go. Then they go to then they make it to the moot. When they get to the moot, they are, of course, treated like they are puny humans by the giants and literally looked down upon.
Mm-hmm.
And the first day of the moot is, yeah, this is just kind of a typical moot. You're kind of you're twiddling your thumbs. You're waiting
Yeah.
for your moment.
Lull
Nobody's letting you
into,
speak, and they're
yeah.
talking about there's one giant faction, another giant faction talking about territorial dispute. So it's kind of like the first of the prequel movies where they had all the trade discussions.
Oh, Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, no, no. I understand. Yeah, everyone's there just being like, hey, come on. You're
Yeah,
moving a little too close to those mountain ridges over there. And it's like, no, those are our mountain ridges.
exactly.
The players
So
are
that's
just
kind
like,
of the vibe of the
okay.
first day, and it allows the PCs to mingle with the giants and get to learn everyone's personality.
Yeah.
And there's a shapeshifter in there with them.
I love a shapeshifter, genuinely. Both playing them and also having them as NPCs.
Yes, and the shapeshifter has a couple of cultist minions. So then the next day, there's more discussions. The PCs get their chance to speak. And of course, various reactions to what they're saying and all that. And then someone gets murdered. Yeah, actually, it was one of the cloud giants that gets murdered.
Oh,
And the shapeshifter and his minions have been working hard to frame someone else for the murder. There's an enchanted bird cage. What it is you stuff a flying monster into the bird cage, and it looks like an ordinary songbird.
uh-huh.
The shapeshifter picked one of the giants at random and said, use the suggestion to bring this bird as a gift, and then use a suggestion later on to bring the gift directly to the cloud giant and open the bird cage. And then it's Amigo, and the Amigo attacks and kills the giant. And there's a little bit of kind of lore that got added for the giants. They're deathly, because that plays into this adventure, they're deathly afraid of these primordial Migos because they have legends. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they do kill you and lay eggs in you. I would also be afraid of them.
But they seem to prefer giants over other creatures. So they go after giants rather than, humans or dwarves or, animals. The PCs have to, convince everyone that they didn't commit the murder. So that takes a little bit. And once they've done that, hopefully, there's some contingencies. Then they are free to investigate. And the cloud giants, who are kind of sponsoring the Moot, have a little bit of trust in the PCs, so they allow them to kind of cook. Meanwhile, the two cultist minions try to finagle their way into the investigation and try to steer the PCs to the person they want to hang this murder on.
The Northlands World Book and Sagas, this is amazing, right? Like, these are chock full of some of the most epic Viking fantasy that I've seen in quite a while. And it feels new and fresh and weird in the ways that it should be.
But also familiar.
But also familiar in the ways that you want it to be.
Oh, yeah.
And enough to be surprising, but still exactly what you're looking for. My question to you is, do you have any final words for the people listening? Why do you think they should back? What do you think really, really makes this special?
If you can't hear the Conan soundtrack while playing this game, then I've done something wrong. Because I can hear it just talking about it. I can hear that drum. For me, this is the height of epic fantasy. This is Falfred and the Grey Mouser. This is Conan. This is, epic stands against impossible odds. These are the reasons that you game. These are promoting those moments that your players are going to talk about for years. Remember when we changed Fenris? And then Loki came and a guy had his stone. Those are those moments. And I tried to make the entire game, or both of these books, full of as many of those moments as I possibly could. Because that's the kind of fantasy that I want to play. And I hope that people want to play as well.
I definitely want to play. So thank you so much for at least doing it for me.
It was all for you, Kendo.
I appreciate it. If you've been watching this series wondering, well, how the heck am I going to use all this? The Northlands Sagas is your answer. Even if you don't want to use the adventure path in its entirety, the way that it interweaves the characters through the drama of all these factions and mythic powers serves as great inspiration for your own adventures. But also, who doesn't want to go on an epic quest to save the Northlands from the cult of Ragnarok? It's pretty sick. But also, who doesn't want to go on an epic adventure to save the Northlands from Ragnarok? These are stories that you're going to be telling with your friends for years to come. It's just sick. Truly, there is no wrong way to do this. Either you run the adventure path as it is, or you just take inspiration from it. The only wrong way to go is not to get the books at all. And hey, if you haven't backed the Northlands, time is running out. You only have about a week left because the Kickstarter ends on October 3rd. So pause this video, go to the link in the description, and go back the Kickstarter now. But be sure to come back because I want to say bye to you. Don't worry, I'll wait. Okay, Rack, cool. Thanks everybody for watching, not just this video, but this series as a whole. Your support means so much, and we love having you here and making these things for you because we're nothing without you. So please go hit that subscribe button so you can get notified whenever a new video comes out and you can stay up to date on all things Kobold Press. And stay tuned because we've got something really fun for you coming in October with our Kobold Scare Case on October 10th and 11th. But until then, I've been Kendrick or Kendo, whichever you prefer, and don't forget to go out, be bold, be brave, be valiant.